The nights had started to feel longer than before. Maybe the problem wasn't the night at all. Maybe it was the shadows living inside me. Moonlight slips through the cabin's only window and stretches the shadows across the wall. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the fading biopatterns on my hands. Once, they were the mark of the galaxy's most powerful imperial family. Now they look like old, washed-out tattoos. Most of my power burned out saving Elias. The ancient energy of Astralis drained from my veins. You haven't slept again. Elias's voice comes from behind me, soft but tired. When I turn, I can see faint stains on his shirt beneath the bandages on his chest. He's still not fully healed. He keeps insisting I'm fine, but his breathing always quickens when he climbs the stairs. If I need to sleep, I'll sleep, I say. You need to sleep, he answers. I know I'm not a doctor, but even you can't keep going like this. I let out a small laugh. Sleeplessness isn't fatal for my kind. It just makes the thoughts a little too loud. He walks over and sits beside me on the bed. For a while, neither of us speaks. Only the crackling of the stove fills the silence. Then Elias glances from the window up to the sky. They'll come again, won't they? He asks. Yes, I say. But not with warships this time. What do you mean? I close my eyes. I listen to a very old echo vibrating somewhere inside me, something I'm only just beginning to remember the name of. This time, I say, it won't be ships that come. This time, secrets will. The faint voice in my head rises again. It's been like this for days, an invisible frequency turning circles inside my brain. It brushes against the remnants of my telepathic power, carving out a message I can't quite read. Elias notices the tension in my face. It started again, hasn't it? Yes. What is it saying? I still don't know, I reply. But it's coming from Astralis. And that's never good. A shadow crosses my thoughts. Because this voice isn't just carrying information. It's carrying a memory. And that memory is my father's face. Astralis Prime's crystal towers reached into the sky like an endless dawn. The air shimmered between shades of purple and gold. In the palace corridors, every step echoed, and even the echoes reminded you where you stood in the hierarchy. Back then, when I was still a princess, I thought I understood power. Command authority. Telepathic pressure over minds. Control of warships. I was wrong. Real power lives in knowledge. And that knowledge was being kept from me. I was walking toward the innermost part of the palace, a place only the royal family and high council could enter. My father had summoned me there. Normally, we spoke in chambers near the throne. This time he'd called me to the very heart of the palace, the archive circle. As I stopped before the door, the biopatterns on my hands lit up. The stone recognized me. Purple lines flowed across it, forming symbols. The door slowly opened. Inside, it was dark. Astralis darkness. A darkness you don't see with your eyes, but with your mind. Come, my father's deep voice echoed. He stood in the center of the room on a round platform. Around us, layers of holographic data rings rotated in the air. War histories, exploration logs, genetic projects, secret protocols. I walked closer. You called for me, father. Thorexis turned his gaze toward me. There was the usual wall of ice in his eyes, but beneath it, something else. A fracture. This empire, he said, does not stand only on ships and armies, Vyralith. I know. No, he replied. You don't. He raised his hand. A thin beam of light shot from his fingertips, selecting one of the spinning rings. He tapped it. The data stream flared brighter before us. Protocol name. Perigee Project. Classification. Royal family eyes only. My brow tightened. What is this? My father took a slow breath. Earth. A blue sphere appeared in the hologram. Clouds. Continents. Oceans. The planet I'm now exiled to. The Perigee Project, he said, is about this world. I felt a flutter in my chest. How long has it been active? Since before you were born, he answered, without looking at me. Before me? I asked. Then why are you telling me now? His eyes met mine. His tone changed. For a moment, he spoke not as a king, but as a father. Because sometimes, he said, the truth comes too early. And, sometimes, we wait too long. Silence settled over us. Only the soft whirring of the data rings remained. The Perigee Project, he continued, could change Astralis's fate. But it's also dangerous enough to destroy us. Dangerous. I repeated. The species on Earth, he said, are not simple, primitive creatures. I gave a bitter smile. You're telling me this? Aren't you the ones who call them primitive? My father shook his head. Their languages and technologies may lag behind ours. That doesn't make them insignificant. He opened another hologram with a flick of his fingers. This time, the image showed a lab, cold metal rooms, human bodies strapped down, Astralis symbols glowing against their skin. My heart tightened. What is this? Our mistakes, he said. And the terrible things we sometimes do in the name of truth. My stomach turned. This project, my father said, was designed to connect two species. Two species? Yes. Astralis and humans. My eyes widened. Why would you do that? His answer was short, but it hit with the weight of a planet. Because your destinies, he said, may be bound together. Back then, I didn't understand. Now I know far more than I want to. There had been someone else in the shadows with us that day. I only realize that now. A figure just outside the door. Silent. Watching. My brother, Zalkron. Listening to every word. Lately, scenes locked deep in my mind have started rising to the surface. It's like someone inside me is quietly unlocking door after door. Elias is bent over the table, studying the maps spread across it. His brow furrows as he marks zones with his pen. What are you doing? I ask. He answers without looking up. Since the last attack, I've been recording everything in the sky, flight paths, signal waves, electromagnetic anomalies. If they come back, maybe I can at least guess where they'll land. Human logic. Simple, stubborn, relentless. I can't help admiring it. I walk over and lean against the table. My eyes drift to the marks he's made, but my mind is still trapped in the archive circle. Elias. There's something I have to tell you. He sets the pen down. I already don't like your tone. I inhale slowly. The words burn on the way out. Our first arrival on Earth, it wasn't just diplomacy. He narrows his eyes. Go on. There's a project called Perigee, I say. Hidden in the deepest layers of the Empire. Genetic and mental experiments on Earth. Hybrid bonds. Compatibility tests between the two species. His expression twists. Wait. He laughs, but it's a sharp, cracked sound. Are you saying your people experimented on Earth? I didn't know, I say. At least, not until recently. How many experiments? He asks. His voice rises. How many humans did you use? I don't look away. I don't know. A soft knock breaks the tension. Sound, light knock on wooden door. Elias glances at the entrance. Who would come at this hour? He stands and heads for the door. I instinctively try to gather my power, but all I feel is a weak tremor through my body. My old strength is gone. The door opens. An elderly woman stands on the threshold, leaning on a cane, wrapped in a thick knitted cardigan. Her eyes are gray, but unnaturally clear. Elias, she rasps. I saw your lights. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Elias's face softens. Hello, Nora. Of course not. Come in. The old neighbor. One of the first humans I ever met, even before Elias. When she first saw me, she simply said, "You have beautiful eyes, child." No questions. No fear. It was as if she already knew. When Nora steps in, her gaze lingers on me for a second. Then she moves to the stove and warms her hands. It's strange out there tonight, she says. It's not cold, but there's something else in the wind. I shiver. It feels like the wind on our side of the stars. Elias asks, would you like some tea? I wouldn't say no, Nora smiles. I meet her gaze. For a moment, I notice something subtle. Her pupils flicker, just slightly more sensitive than normal. As if she's picking up the same invisible frequency that haunts me. Stay here, I tell myself. Stay in the moment. Doubt is the enemy's language, but sometimes it points at a friend. Nora watches the fire as she speaks. This place used to be much quieter, she says. Until those events. Elias pretends to focus on the teapot, but his voice gives him away. What events? Almost 20 years ago, Nora says. The government built a facility on the far side of the lake. Generators roaring day and night. Lights cutting up the sky. Machines that even change the wind. Elias goes still. The color drains from his face. What kind of facility? I don't know, Nora replies. Nobody really did. Just that the ones who came back from there were never the same. I look at Elias. His eyes are lowered. Steam from the kettle hides part of his face, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. Nora, I ask, were you close to that place? Not me, she says. But I knew someone who worked there. A young engineer. He lived in a small white house on the north side of the lake. Very quiet boy. Kept to himself. Then one night, he vanished. My heart slams against my ribs. The small white house. North side of the lake. A young engineer. I turn my head, very slowly, toward Elias. He stopped pouring the tea. Frozen. His hand clenches the handle of the cup so tightly his knuckles whiten. Nora continues, I never forgot his name. It was unusual. Elias Rowan. When I saw him again years later, his eyes were even more tired than before. Even the stove's crackling seems to fall silent. Elias closes his eyes. For the first time. I truly feel how many secrets he's been holding back from me. After Nora goes home, we don't speak for a long time. Only the wind. And the faint clink of cups. Elias, I say at last, how long have you been hiding this? He looks up. He seems too tired to pretend now. Too tired to lie. But still determined. I shouldn't have brought up that facility, he says. Because every time I remember it, I don't sleep. He walks to the table, opens a drawer, and pulls out an old metal box. It's scorched, scratched, burned. He sets it down. Inside are a thin, transparent folder, a few photographs, some folded papers. I pick up one of the photos. A younger Elias looks back at me. Shorter hair. A tired, hopeful smile. In the background stands a fenced metallic structure. Something flickers in the sky above it. In the corner of the photo, almost invisible, is a tiny symbol. Astralis. This symbol, I whisper. Elias shakes his head. I had no idea what it meant back then. They just called it an international project. Energy research. A new kind of reactor. Lies, I say. Yes. His jaw tightens. Lies. I shuffle through the papers until one file name jumps out. Perigee, Unit 07. My fingers tremble. Perigee, I breathe. That's the project my father showed me. Elias frowns. Your Empire's project, the one that wrecked my life, has the same name? Yes. A flash of anger crosses his face, bare, raw. I don't see that in him often. Calm, careful Elias. Now his pupils are pinpoints, his breathing sharp. So, he says, I wasn't just some random engineer. No, I say quietly. You were chosen. As I scan the notes at the bottom of the file, certain lines stab at me. Mental wave resonance observed. Low-level resonance with Astralis biopatterns. Compatible human subject, Elias R. The paper slips from my hands. My voice breaks. They already tested you. Elias buries his head in his hands. A shadow falls over his face. I was just doing my job. I started out as a regular technician. Then they brought me to the core team. They wanted me to analyze data streams, strange symbols, rhythmic signals, what they called cosmic noise. He looks up at me. There's something dark in his eyes now, fear mixed with an awakening. Sometimes, he says, while I was staring at the monitor, I'd hear a voice inside my head. Very faint. Like a whisper from far away. My breath catches. What did it say? I ask. He doesn't answer for a long time. His lips shake. Finally, he forces the word out. Vyralith. My throat tightens. The air grows heavy. A name echoing in his mind for years. My name. I couldn't have heard you back then, he says. I didn't know you existed. Tears sting my eyes. But your mind was already tuned to my frequency. So the Perigee Project had been trying to connect us long before we ever met. Or maybe what we call fate was built in a lab. Elias, I say quietly, you might have been chosen because of me. He shakes his head. No, I was already chosen. You just didn't know. You were the one thing they couldn't calculate, someone who gave me the chance to choose. We fall silent. Then the buzzing in my head surges. Sound, a sharp, high-pitched hum. Pain stabs through my skull. My knees almost buckle. Vyralith. Elias grabs my arm. What's happening? I don't know. The sound, it's getting closer. Darkness flashes across my vision, then an image. Crystal walls. The palace interior. A long corridor that leads to the throne. Blood on the floor. The throne is empty. And a voice, you're late. Commander Reshar leans over the console in his ship's command room, reading the latest report from headquarters again and again. The lines on his forehead deepen. Princess status, exiled. Pursuit priority, reduced. New directive, observe, do not intervene. Case transferred to Astralis internal security. Internal security, he mutters. So Zalkron holds the leash now. A young soldier nearby asks, nervous, sir, does that mean our mission is over? Rezar's violet eyes harden. No mission ends while this many questions remain. He taps a command into the console. An encrypted interface opens, linking to one of the Empire's hidden channels. He enters his credentials. A red warning flashes. Access restricted. Royal family/High Council only. Of course, he sighs. I expected that. He backs out and opens his own ship's logs instead. Vyralith is landing on Earth. Their attempts to bring her back. The exile order. The final battle. He replays the battle footage. A detail catches his eye. On screen, Vyralith lunges toward Elias. Her power explodes, hurling Astralis soldiers away. The energy wave isn't just physical. It ripples across telepathic frequencies. Reshar zooms in on the frequency analysis. This signature, he murmurs. This isn't a normal princess pattern. The soldier beside him frowns. What's different, sir? This, Reshar says, is linked to the Perigee layer. The soldier falls silent. Even hearing that word could be dangerous. Reshar leans back with a long breath. King Thorexis didn't exile her just to punish her, he whispers. He was also removing her from somewhere. Removing her from where, sir? The soldier asks. Reshar closes the screen and stares at the stars outside. From the throne, he says. And from the darkness moving toward it. A decision settles in him. The Empire lies, he thinks. But I made a promise. Vyralith's safety. He opens a hidden side channel, hard to trace. Message header. Recipient, Vyralith. Priority, old oath. The message is short, clear, and sharp enough to break a destiny. Your exile was not meant to punish you, but to protect you. The throne is not empty. The wrong person is sitting on it. Zalkron has seized Perigee. You're the luck. Just before he sends it, he adds one last line he'd hoped never to write. And your father is missing. The cabin lights flicker. The metal cup on the stove trembles. The window pane rattles as if struck by invisible waves. Elias looks up. What was that? A crack snaps through my mind. I fall to my knees, fingers digging into the floorboards. A message, I gasp. This time, it came through clearly. From who? Elias asks. I close my eyes and strain what's left of my telepathy, trying to catch the frequency. A voice rises in the void. Reshar. Harsh, but steady. The sound of worship metal in a man's throat. The words appear in my mind like holograms. Your exile was not meant to punish you, but to protect you. I whisper, my father tried to protect me. What? Elias kneels beside me. The throne wasn't empty, I say. Zalkron took Perigee. I was the lock. What lock? Elias asks. The last line of the message cuts into me like a blade. And your father is missing. My breath stops. Ice fills my lungs. Say that again, Elias says. My father, my voice cracks, is missing. Or hidden. Maybe. I can't finish the sentence. The word dead hangs behind my teeth like a black hole. Elias squeezes my shoulder. That means Zalkron controls everything now, doesn't it? Yes, I say. And Perigee wasn't just an experiment. It was a power source. Maybe the planet itself. That thought silences us both. Power beneath Earth's crust. Astralis's greed. Me, the lock. If you're the lock, Elias says, there must be more records about you. Maybe at that facility. Our eyes meet. There's something I don't want to say, but we've passed the point of turning back. We have to go there. Elias fights with the ignition until his old truck finally coughs to life. As we follow the dirt road toward the lake, the trees grow thicker, the sky shrinking to narrow strips between branches. I sit in the passenger seat, fists clenched. It's been a long time since I've been this close to a non-Astralis facility. But the feeling inside me isn't fear. It's something closer to being summoned. When was the last time you went there? I ask. 13 years ago, Elias says, eyes fixed on the road. The last night I walked out of that place, it still shows up in my nightmares. What happened that night? I don't know, he says. I don't remember. All I know is, when I came out, Nora found me. My clothes were covered in blood, but I didn't have a mark on me. And the sky, it was torn open by a purple light. The same as the day of your crash. He pulls the truck to a stop. Ahead of us stands a fenced facility, rusted and half-collapsed, abandoned to time. The sign over the gate is broken, its letters almost gone. This is it, he whispers. We climb out. The fence groans in the wind. Once, this was high security, cameras, sensors, entry codes. Most of it is dead now. Rotting. Elias pulls a cutter from his pocket and slices through a section of fence, opening a gap big enough to slip through. He scans the area, then looks back at me. Ready? No, I reply honestly. But we're going in. The moment we step through, the silence changes. This isn't ordinary emptiness. The air hums with a different frequency, like the last echo of a machine that stopped long ago. The main door hangs open. A dark mouth. We walk inside. The corridors are long, narrow. The neon strips along the walls are long dead, but faint phosphorescent traces still linger here and there. Papers litter the floor. Broken tablets. Overturned chairs. How big was the team? I ask. Maybe 100 people, Elias says. Maybe more. We didn't all have access to the lower levels. At least, that's what I thought. We descend the stairs. The deeper we go, the heavier the air feels. As if even the oxygen remembers. Finally, we stand before a thick metal door. Faded letters read. Perigee Corps, authorized personnel only. My palms are damp. This is it. With the power shut down, the lock system is useless. Elias forces the door, and despite rust and time, it grinds open. Inside is a wide circular chamber. In the center stands a huge metal sphere. Around it, consoles, monitors, cables. On the surface of the sphere, a symbol glows faintly. The Astralis royal crest. Below it, another mark. A stylized human DNA helix. The two symbols wrapped together. This, I whisper. The sign of a bond between species. Elias doesn't move closer, as if approaching it might wake something sleeping inside. He keeps his distance and scans the room. I remember this, he says quietly. This wasn't just a reactor. They were running a matching experiment here. Matching? Yeah, he says. Frequency matching. Mental waves, biological patterns, emotional responses. They measured everything. They were trying to connect me to something. I reach toward the sphere. Before my fingers touch it, my skin prickles. The data stored inside it recognizes me. It's resonating with me, I say. Be careful, Elias warns. But it's already too late. The moment my fingertips brush the metal, everything goes black. I feel myself ripped out of my body and thrown into a river of data. My eyes are closed, but images pour in. First image. The Astralis Palace. My father arguing with the High Council. The Perigee Project is spiraling out of control, Thorexis says. You ignore the fact that Earth has its own layer of consciousness. It's not just a rock in space. If we let this chance slip, the Empire could fall, another voice says. The Astralis test subject is ready, a third voice insists. Vyralith. Dynastic blood. Maximum frequency compatibility. The image cuts. Second image. A child's room. Not Astralis design, but filled with Earth objects. A book. A toy. A small globe. A human child sits on the bed. The name above the file. Elias Rowan. Subject code. ER07. My heart clenches. Mental compatibility. 92%. Emotional resonance potential. High. Predicted bond target. Vyralith. I gasp for air. Third image. Me, younger, in the palace training hall, undergoing telepathic drills. The instructor is binding a frequency to my mind. This voice will shape your destiny, he tells me. When you hear it, you won't know who it is. But you won't be able to ignore it. A faint tone in my ear. Something I felt even as a child, but could never name. Far away, on Earth, a child's breathing. Last image. The Perigee core room. I'm connected to the sphere. My mind running parallel with Elias's. But this never happened. It's a projected scenario. Text scrolls over it. Scenario: if Vyralith or 07 are brought together, probability of permanent bond between the two species, 98%. Risk: bond may develop independent will beyond imperial control. My father's voice cuts through the data. This project will be shut down immediately. I won't allow you to use my daughter as a key. Then Zalkron's voice, younger but already venomous. You think you've stopped it, father. When you're gone, I'll continue where you left off. The vision shatters. I fall. Back into myself. I open my eyes. I'm on my knees in the Perigee core. My hands are still pressed to the sphere, fingers shaking. Elias grips my shoulders. Vyralith. Look at me. Breathe. My chest burns, but I drag air in. I saw everything, I whisper. Fear and curiosity mix in his face. What did you see? Our story, I say, meeting his eyes, wasn't an accident. They tried to bind us long before we were born. But we chose. Yes, I say. And that's what they never factored in. The words twist in my throat, but the weight has to fall. My father tried to stop the project. Exiling me was both punishment and a way to hide me from Zalkron. Elias swallows. So now Zalkron owns Perigee, I say. And he doesn't just want to invade Earth. He wants to burn it. Consume it. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then a voice comes from the shadows. Not wrong. Elias spins, lifting a metal rod like a weapon. I try to gather what remains of my energy, but it's a faint spark at best. A tall, lean figure steps out of the darkness. He's wearing Astralis armor, but the Imperial insignias are scratched off, erased. Like he has cut himself away from his own banner. Rezhar, I say. The commander bows his head slightly. Princess Vyralith. Elias stares. Isn't this the man who tried to kill you? Rezhar's mouth twists into a bitter smile. Circumstances have changed, human. He moves closer. His armor is battered, helmet tucked under one arm. His face carries the look of someone who has seen too much and kept going anyway. What are you doing here? I ask. I'm glad my message reached you, he replies. But there are things you can't send through a frequency alone. Some truths need a voice in the room. Elias folds his arms. Why should we trust you? Rezhar looks at him. Because your mind is living proof of what we did wrong. And because what I'm about to say concerns both of you. He stops a few steps from the metal sphere, careful not to touch it. Your father, he says to me, made many mistakes as king. But about Perigee, he started to see the truth. That's why he vanished. Vanished or? The word sticks. Official records say he died in transit, Rezhar answers. But no one in the Empire just disappears. If the records are gone, it means someone is rewriting them. Zalkron? Elias asks. Rezhar nods. Zalkron and the council behind him. They realize Perigee isn't just a link. It's a power source. If they merge Earth's core with the Astralis energy grid, the greedy will never walk away from that kind of power. And me? I ask. Where do I fit? Rezhar doesn't hesitate. You are the key, he says. Royal blood. High-level telepathy. A unique empathy between two species. You are the bridge unit in Perigee. Bridge, I echo. Between two worlds. And Elias, Rezhar says, turning to him, you're the opposite end. The anchor on the human side. As a child, your neural waves proved unusually compatible with ours. They brought you here. You don't remember, but you were exposed to Astralis signals. Elias's hands shake. So I was a test subject. Rezhar sighs. The Empire has softer words for it. But yes. All right, Elias says through clenched teeth. Say all this is true. What do you want from us? A flicker of conflict crosses Rezhar's eyes, then steadies. I don't want anything from you, he says. I'm offering you a choice. What choice? Elias demands. To know the truth and keep hiding, or to know it and try to change it. The air in the Perigee core grows heavier. The walls feel closer, like they're listening. What is Zalkron planning? I ask. Rezhar gazes at the faint symbols on the sphere. He's trying to fully activate Perigee. But he can't do it without you and the opposite end. Killing you would waste his key. Exiling you lets him pretend you're punished while keeping you in reach. And you? Elias asks. Whose side are you on? Rezhar gives a small, tired smile. I used to be only on the Empire side. But when I saw you on Earth, when you nearly killed yourself to protect him, he looks at me. For the first time, I saw something the records can't measure, free will. Did my father fear free will? I ask. No, Rezhar says. He feared what he couldn't control. Your connection with Elias pushed Perigee towards something beyond him. That's why he removed you from the palace. But he also appointed someone to guard you from afar. Who? Rezhar brings his fist to his chest in an old oath. Me. Something heavy shifts inside me. You. When you attacked me. I never meant to harm you, he says. But Zalkron was watching. If it became obvious I was protecting you, he would have erased us both. Elias shakes his head. Political games, secret projects, a missing king. How are just two people supposed to fix this? You're not just two people, Rezhar replies. You're a bridge and its counterpoint. And you still underestimate Earth. The planet. I ask. What do you mean? Early Perigee readings showed strange changes in Earth's magnetic field, Rezhar says. We only cared about the physical structure. But some of the reports hinted that the planet might have a kind of collective consciousness. So the world is alive? Elias asks. Maybe, Rezhar says. We don't know. We only know that linking Astralis frequencies to its core could have unpredictable consequences. That's why Thorexis tried to shut Perigee down. And Zalkron, I finish, wants to weaponize it. Yes, Rezhar replies. Conquering a planet gives you territory. Turning its core into fuel gives you infinite power. Elias grits his teeth. You know what that means? It means killing the world. I know, Rezhar answers quietly. And I'm still enough of a soldier not to obey that order. Silence presses down again. Finally, I ask, so what now? Rezhar's answer is simple, terrifying, and completely logical. Before Zalkron reaches Perigee, you have to reach it first. Are you insane? Elias bursts out. This place already ruined our lives. Yes, Rezhar says. And it's also your only chance. If the bridge and the opposite end redefine Perigee by their own free will, you can take it away from the ones who built it. I swallow. A new agreement between species? Something like that, he nods. Perigee would answer to you now, not the Empire. And if Earth has a mind, it will have to listen to you. What if we fail? Elias asks. Rezhar shrugs. Then Zalkron wins. Earth dies. Astralis survives a little longer. Then it dies too. Power never lasts. I inhale slowly. For the first time, I realize my exile from the throne has led me to a much bigger one, the space between worlds. So our choice is this, I say. Hide and watch Zalkron's plan unfold, or tear Perigee out of its creator's hands and give it a new meaning. Elias holds my gaze. There's fear in his eyes, anger too. But beneath it all, stubbornness. I don't want to fight for a project that turned me into a file and a percentage, he says. My chest tightens. But he goes on, this planet is my home. And I chose you. Not because of their project. Because of me. I smile, a small light in the dark. Me too. Elias steps up to the metal sphere and slowly stretches out his hand. We'll do this, he says, on our terms. To break the fate they wrote for us. I stand beside him. Reshar steps back, watching. 2 hands touch the sphere. The moment we make contact, the light in the room shifts. Systems that have slept for years stir awake. Consoles flicker. Old data begins to flow again. The voice in my head isn't alone anymore. 2 layers intertwine. Astralis frequency, sharp, precise, symmetrical. Earth's hum, deep, heavy, vast. I feel a question rise, not in words, but in emotion. Who are you? The answer comes from both of us. I am Vyralith, I say. The exiled daughter of Astralis. I am Elias Rowan, he says. Born on Earth. Raised as ordinary. Turned into anything but. Our frequencies blend into the Perigee network. The system tries to classify us. New lines appear. Bridge unit, active. Opposite end unit, active. Control, open TO external authority. External authority, I murmur. The Empire. Elias digs into the code. Can you change who it answers to? Let's see. I push my telepathic focus into the command layer. Astralis terms flash across my mind, words I learned as a child, never used like this. Control authority, redefine. New authority, bridge plus opposite END, joint will. The system hesitates. Then, 2-sided consciousness required for approval. What's that mean? Elias asks. It wants a full agreement, I say. Not just bodies. Hearts, too. Our minds meet fully for the first time. I feel his fear, his doubt, and his choice. Are you ready? I ask. No, he says. Then he smiles. Which is why we should do it. Something clicks, deep inside me. Old chains rattle. We speak the final command together. Approve. On the consoles, the text shifts. External authority, terminated. Perigee control, transferred to bridge plus opposite end. Reshar watches us, astonished. You did it, he says. You took Perigee from the Empire. For now, Elias says, wiping sweat from his forehead. I don't want to imagine Zalkron's reaction when he sees this. As I move through the cascading data, a folder catches my eye. Here, I say, the title. Perigee, Forecast Models, Future Scenarios, Earth/Astralis. I open it. Simulated futures scroll past. Astralis destroys Earth, then collapses under the weight of its own hunger. Earth rejects Astralis and isolates itself, slowly dying alone. 2 worlds tear each other apart in endless war. At the very bottom, there's one more file. Scenario null. I open it. If Perigee is taken over by free will outside the dynasty, the relationship between the 2 species shifts from controlled experiment to joint evolution. In this scenario, the Empire's power hierarchy destabilizes. The throne becomes symbolic. The old order collapses. Coevolution, Elias whispers. That's what Zalkron fears most, I say. Losing control. Rezer's expression changes. For a moment, he's not just a soldier, he's a man thinking about his people's future. Now, he says, comes the hard part. What could be harder than this? Elias asks. Reshar opens another log in the sphere's lower levels. The title freezes my blood and drains the color from Elias's face. 07, Biological History/Origin Analysis. The file fills with genetic maps, waveforms, blood data. The first line cuts straight through us. 07, Name, Elias Rowan. Birth record, world/continent, missing, city, missing. Genetic profile, not 100% human. Elias backs away. That's wrong. Keep reading, I say, barely breathing. Genetic composition, 87% human, 13% alien source. Alien source, Astralis biodesigned remnants. Panic flashes across his face. That's impossible. I'm human. I had a family. We didn't say they weren't your family, Reshar says gently. But you're not only theirs. What does that 13% mean? I ask. Did our people alter it? The file scrolls further. The subject was modified not at birth, but in early childhood. Goal: create a hybrid mind able to sync with Astralis frequency fields. Reason for selecting ER-07, family background, early trauma, and neurodevelopmental potential showed high compatibility with project requirements. Elias clutches his head. Early trauma. Elias, I say softly. Tears fill his eyes. When I was little, his voice shakes. There was a fire. Our home burned down. They told me my parents died. The people who took me said they were from the government. They said they were protecting me. But now it sounds like they burned my life themselves. The room goes silent. Back then, I was just one cog in this machine, Reshar says quietly. But you're right. They lied. And we were part of that lie. Elias wipes at his face, but the hurt doesn't go anywhere. So 13% of me comes from your world, he says to me. And I thought I was just human. You're human, I say. A piece of Astralis in your blood doesn't erase that. It erases something, he says. My innocence. My certainty. I shake my head. It makes you someone both worlds owe. Another note appears at the bottom. When ER-07 and Bridge Unit Vyralith are brought together, the hybrid mental field stabilizes. Probability of emotional union forming naturally, very low. Use of forced bonding protocols recommended. Elias lets out a broken laugh. So, statistically, we were never supposed to fall in love. Tears spill onto my cheeks as I smile. Then we've broken their statistics. Reshar takes a deep breath. Which is exactly why their models failed. You two are the flaw in their equation. Elias looks at me through wet eyes. If I'm part Astralis, does that mean I belong to neither world? No, I say. It means you belong to both. Standing there in the Perigee core, as truth after truth peels back, something inside me settles into place. I was the exiled princess, the soldier, the lover, the lost child. Now I have to be the bridge. What happens when Zalkron realizes we've taken control? I ask. Reshar stares up as if he can see past the ceiling, past the sky, all the way to Astralis. He already knows, he says. Perigee is still linked to the Imperial network. Control transfer like this would have flagged every alarm. So, Elias says, we're out of time. Yes, Reshar replies. Zalkron may try to destroy this facility first. If he fails, he'll come for you both and finish Perigee his way. What do we do? Elias asks. The answer comes out of my mouth before I can doubt it. We don't wait for him. Elias looks at me. What? Zalkron wants a weapon, I say. We can turn Perigee into something else. A table between two worlds instead of a sword above them. We won't wait for him to arrive. We'll expose him. Expose him to who? Elias asks. World governments? If we have to, I say. But first, we need to know if the world even wants to talk to us. Reshar frowns. Talk to Earth. I smile. Isn't that what Perigee is? A bridge? Bridges don't just connect two people. Sometimes there's a third consciousness. The mind of the planet, Elias says quietly. If it's real, isn't that what scares him most? I ask. Something he can't command. Reshar, the soldier, gives a philosopher's answer. Power ignores what it can't control. Until what it ignores destroys it. The three of us stare at the sphere. Don't let the metal fool you. This room is writing the fate of two planets. And far away, but drawing closer, a shadow named Zalkron. Before we leave the core, I search the logs for my father. Maybe he left something behind. I scroll through hidden files until one stands out. User, Thorexis. Tag, personal record. My heartbeat stutters. I open it. My father's hologram appears. He looks older, more tired, but his eyes are still sharp. This record is for Dynasty members only, he says. If you're watching this, Vyralith, then things did not go as I hoped. My throat tightens. The Perigee Project was meant to be a diplomatic bridge between species. But the greedy see every bridge as a new invasion route. Zalkron, he is someone I failed to raise. I surrendered his mind to power. When I exiled you, I wasn't only punishing you. I was trying to protect you from our home. From me. You, Vyralith, he says, are my greatest mistake and my greatest hope. A mistake because I drew you into this. A hope because you can do what I never dared, choose the heart over the throne. My tears fall freely. If there is a human beside you, and if this human has chosen you of their own free will, then Perigee's darkest line is already broken. That line says, two species can only share a universe if one dominates the other. I pray that line is a lie. One more thing. Zalkron has begun altering not only Perigee, but Astralis' memory core. He is erasing our past and writing himself into history. If this recording still exists, then he has not erased everything. His final words pierce deeper than any blade. You have no reason to forgive me. But maybe you can forgive the future. If you rewrite it. The hologram fades. Elias steps quietly to my side and takes my hand. Your father, he begins. He may have failed as a king, I say. But in the end, he tried to be a father. bows his head. I had stopped fighting for King Thorexis, but I might fight alongside his daughter. I smile through the ache. Steadier now. This isn't his war anymore, I say. It's not even a war between worlds. It's their future. As we leave the Perigee core, the symbols on the sphere glow one last time, Astralis and human intertwined. An unspoken question hangs in the air. Can two worlds be saved at once? We don't know. But we do know this. We no longer accept any future where that question isn't asked. When we step outside, the air feels different. The sky is a color I've never seen, somewhere between Earth's blue and Astralis' purple. Wrong and beautiful at the same time. As Elias walks toward the truck, his old radio crackles to life. In this dead zone where it never picks up anything, a clear frequency suddenly cuts through the static. The voice is distorted but understandable. All units respond. Unidentified entry in the atmosphere. An energy wave from an unknown source has entered Earth's orbit. Elias looks at me. Is that one of yours? I shake my head. No. This frequency is an Astralis. The voice continues. Central, come in. Station sensors report a new object in orbit. Its size, no, this isn't a ship. This looks like a structure. lifts his eyes to the sky. For the first time, I see real fear in his violet gaze. This isn't Zalkron, he says. This is something even the Empire hasn't recorded. The horizon shudders, almost imperceptibly. Like the sky itself just flinched. We woke something, Elias whispers. Either the mind of the world. Or, I finish, the mind of the world decided to stop hiding. A shape appears high above. Massive. Not quite a ship, not quite a building. Its form echoes both Astralis and human architecture. Perigee's body. Visible for the first time. The wind falls still. The earth seems to inhale. And there we stand, an exiled princess, a hybrid child of two worlds, and a tired soldier on the lake shore, beneath the shadow of two civilizations. Our story doesn't end here. If anything, the dark secrets have only opened the door. What's coming now is much bigger.